Welcome to the definitive guide on how you should be using Facebook ads with Google and TikTok and YouTube and email. We don't live in a single channel environment anymore, and your best business effort should absolutely take into account multiple opportunities. Let's face it, Facebook is an intent creation device. It can be the entire funnel. You can absolutely run your entire marketing effort with one Facebook ad account targeting broad, and it'll do prospecting, it'll do retargeting, it'll do retention, because that's how Facebook works. But if you want to begin to amplify that, it might be time to bring in some other channels. So let's dive deep into that. I'm super excited. Now, first, before we go into it, I just want to say thank you very much for being here. You could be literally anywhere on the internet, and I really appreciate it. And if you want more help and there's anything else I can do for you, please feel free to subscribe to this, comment below, ask questions, and go to links.facebookdisruptor.com for a bunch more resources. Let's go. So, starting off with it, Google and email. Now, these are what we call demand and inventory based platforms. Basically meaning these are platforms where you should have a fairly consistent click-through rate and open rate and have a very good idea of how your audience is going to behave because you've already curated that audience. They've already opted in to an experience with you. These are also much more profitable, relatively speaking, properties to begin to advertise on. Now, while you can get 10x, 20, 30x ROAS, for instance, on Google, and while you can generate thousands of dollars a day on email for effectively almost no cost, there is an inherent downside to these in that what they do is take advantage of inventory and demand you've already established. And this is a really big deal because basically it means you can't grow your business purely by emailing the people that already gave you their email address because you're going to run out of people. Growing your business means that you continue to add more people to that email list. Now, you can just run organically and make that happen, and that's fine. And search is the people that already know about your business or product that are looking for you or something like it, and you're able to capitalize on that intent. Again, great, but not a scalable solution. Not nearly in the same way that Facebook works, which is why Facebook is the third leg of basically every successful business's foundation, right? We have Google search, which is also Bing search or whatever else. We have email, absolutely massively important pieces. And we have Facebook, which creates intent at scale. Now, what Google, well, in this case, search and email does is it takes the opportunity to monetize the attention, the inventory for the CRM list that you have, and to take advantage of the demand that you've already created. This should be in your wheelhouse right now. I would highly recommend that if you are not running emails and you are not running search, that you change that today. The amount of opportunity that you are leaving on the table could be crippling. Let me put it to you this way. Facebook is the thing that turns up the volume on the rest of your business. But Facebook also has the worst exchange rate of these three available choices for making money. It is quite often said, very accurately so, that if you are breaking even on Facebook, you are making a lot of money. And if breaking even on Facebook doesn't make you money, it means that you don't have email and search down in a way that you should. So my point here is the reason that we have these channels is because these are the I've earned your attention, I've earned your trust, I've earned your interest, and now I want to have an ongoing relationship with you type channels. So the way that we use Facebook alongside of search and email is we want to make sure that we are using it to amplify the opportunity that search and email bring to the table. Now, this isn't to say that Facebook shouldn't also be bringing in business. It absolutely should. But there is a relationship. When you do heavy retargeting on Facebook, that's actually stealing money from search and from email revenue places that could be driven by those channels. When instead you're doing broad on Facebook, which again does retargeting and again does retention because the ads do the targeting. Broad is literally the only audience you need. There's plenty of videos I have about that to explain it. There are many blogs on my site to explain that. And if anybody disagrees with that, they're objectively wrong. Sky is blue, fire is hot. Broad does retargeting. But the point here is when you start to go broad, you will see more people sign up for emails at a faster rate on your site because you are reaching more people. So you're getting more people to come to your store. You're getting more of that just organically. People are out there and knowing that you exist. You're also going to see more search. So what Facebook is doing is providing an incremental lift to these other channels. And that's really what Facebook advertising is about. Facebook advertising is about providing incremental lift to the rest of your business. It's not about being the sole source of revenue. It's about taking what makes money and turning the volume up on it. That is how you use Facebook in line with platforms like Google and Bing and Klaviyo or any other email client that you're using. That's how you get it done. Now, for those using Facebook alongside channels like TikTok, I love what's going on here. Now, we've seen stuff work in the past with channels like Pinterest and Snapchat that have really tried to take the right-hand man, the assistant job of what Facebook does. And to be fair, you can absolutely crush on TikTok alone. That is a more specialized use case, and it is definitely way more difficult and less sustainable. And there's far less scale available. But you could absolutely be spending $50, $100 a day on TikTok and doing just fine. But once we want to start adding Facebook and TikTok together, we have to understand what these channels are doing for each other. Now, the honest truth is there is no actual set standard for how they're supposed to work with each other because you can solve problems in multiple ways. But here's what we got to get down: the objective truth, the known facts. You are likely to reach more people faster with a less engaged experience on TikTok. It is a volume over value type of attention building platform. That being said, you might only need volume to succeed. And there are people that are doing that left, right, and center. For instance, Cody Klofker with Jones Road Beauty. His mom is Bobby Brown. His mom is a celebrity. So every TikTok he puts out booms because he's sitting on third base launching creatives. And it's amazing. And that business is very successful because of it. And there are people around the world taking really engaging content that very easily sells a simple product, running TikTok ads, and crushing with it. That being said, if you are currently running Facebook ads and you want to start adding TikTok to your business, we have to start to understand, where does TikTok fit into our overall marketing funnel and customer journey? Now, again, there's no right answer here. There's no you need to do it this way or you need to do it this way type answer here. But there are some objective truths. So we can focus on those and then strategize around them. First, if you are already very successful with Facebook and you have email and search going really, really well for you, odds are the unfair advantage that TikTok is going to bring to the table for your business is reach and awareness far more than straight performance. And that's okay. Much in the same way that we run Facebook ads to lift search and email, we can run TikTok to lift Facebook search and email. It is not uncommon for you to be able to run TikTok ads and see a lift in your demand and inventory-based platforms. As a matter of fact, that's almost a guarantee. But we're also going to see cross-channel lift between Facebook and TikTok. If you are running a good TikTok campaign, your Facebook is going to be easier because you are having more market awareness and because Facebook is an intent creation device where broad is doing prospecting, retargeting, and retention. Because remember, all you need is broad. Running TikTok allows Facebook to know that somebody's already been to your site. Somebody's already interested in what you have to say. Not because they know that you saw something on TikTok, but because of actions that you might have taken on other channels. You have given signals to Facebook based on your navigation of the internet of where you are. Because Facebook knows that somebody's been to your site. They know that somebody's been to your competitor's site. And if you're running TikTok ads, getting some traffic, it is not unrealistic to say, well, my first impression on Facebook is actually a retargeting ad for somebody that has been to my site because of a TikTok impression and a TikTok click. That happens at scale around the world millions of times a day. That makes Facebook more stable. Now, remember we said Facebook had a very bad exchange rate. If you can break even on Facebook, you're making money. And what I meant by that was, if you spend $100 on Facebook, you should be able to make $100 back. If you spend $100 on email, you could make $1,000, $100,000. If you spend $100 on Google, you could make $1,000 or $10,000 back. But you can't just do it to nobody. You can't do it to just anybody. Facebook will allow you to go into a room full of strangers and get your money back plus some. Search and email, if you don't already have a relationship, it's almost impossible to make more money. Because again, you can't go up to an absolute stranger and then email them and expect to have reasonable results. Matter of fact, you might get banned from running email for doing that. Now, there's a great art of cold emailing. I'm not here to shoot that down. I think there are massively talented experts in that space. But when you're running TikTok, that then gives your Facebook ads more signals so that your broad can be more effective. And ultimately what that'll do is it'll probably lower your CPA from your Facebook ads because your ads ultimately become more engaging because somebody's more aware of your product and or service, and Facebook has more signals with advanced matching to show your content to better quality people. So your estimated action rate is going to go up. And in the great equation of budget and estimated action rate to determine your Facebook bid, if your estimated action rate goes up, your cost per sale or lead goes down, which ultimately means you could theoretically spend more money. But we also have to bake in the fact that we're spending money on TikTok to make that happen. The other side of this equation, which I'm not seeing as much, but I wanted to address real quick because it is absolutely possible, is you could be using TikTok as a retargeting device or as a lead generation device. And I think this is one of the sneaky best uses of it, is how do we just get massive market share with TikTok, basically making it a super top of funnel effort. I don't see TikTok working really well in the retargeting space, but I know I've also crushed on Snapchat with it. And I know that you can make that work. And if you're not sure how to use it and you want to get started today, there's no harm in basically saying, if somebody's already been to my site, but they're on TikTok, I want to touch them. You're probably going to make some money. Now, the last channel that I really wanted to address here is YouTube, because I think YouTube presents a really interesting cross section of demand and inventory base plus optimized CPM, which basically means YouTube's a little bit of search and a little bit of Facebook, right? It's a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll. And what I want to address here is that because it sits on the Google platform, inherently, it is more of a search-based device, right? However, Google's really smart. Google's been working on the YouTube platform for years. There are now totally the opportunity to use things like custom intent and say that people have been to specific sites. So you can basically retarget your competition. You can prospect by conquesting, which is a massive boon in the space that you could not necessarily ever do on other channels in the same way. Now, you used to be able to do that on Twitter ads and, to a lesser extent, Pinterest, but never in a real scale. Now, when you're using Facebook alongside of your YouTube, you have to understand, again, just like with TikTok and search and with email, that every channel has an unfair advantage in the space. And when you ask that channel to truly leverage its unfair advantage as its primary responsibility, you're going to get generally the best overall business results from your efforts there. And what I mean by that is, I don't use YouTube as a full funnel device, alongside Facebook as a full funnel device, alongside TikTok as a full funnel device, and realistically expect for me to have full control over any one of those channels, because the customer journey is so elaborate and entangled between any of them. I have to understand that when I'm doing that, I don't have control over the customer journey. And attribution is completely out the window. Now, I also am totally fine with that, because attribution is nonsense. It's a lie taught by salespeople from vendors 3 decades ago. Attribution is nonsense. There's a whole other bit of things you can do on that. If you want more questions, please just ask, and I will gladly answer that and steer you in the direction towards those resources. So all that being said, when I'm running YouTube alongside Facebook, my focus here is, one, there are plenty of people that are on YouTube that aren't on Facebook. So I'm totally fine being there. There are people that will engage in content of a different type with a different lean in on YouTube than they would on Facebook. And I want to be there. There are ways of getting specific user journeys and intent and capitalizing it on a way that's not available on Facebook. And I want to take advantage of that. It is completely reasonable to go into YouTube and to have your paid media effectively hijack customer journeys for all of your competitors. That is 100% possible. Now, you have to make content specifically designed for that. And I'm sure that you've seen that in your YouTube experience. Now, the downside to YouTube is also that there are opportunities to completely opt out of ads entirely. So on YouTube, you have the choice of never seeing ads, which is not something we see in email or search or Facebook or TikTok. So it is sort of its own unique beast. The other side of YouTube that I want to bring to the table is, and why I think everybody should be using it, and I use it, is because it does also operate as its own universe, just like Facebook does. And what I mean by that is, if you are making content, if you are promoting yourself, if you are interjecting yourself into conversations, you will grow merely by existing, as long as you are continuing to raise your hand and having something to say. So my point with that is YouTube alongside of Facebook can be tremendously powerful in providing an additional opportunity to not only create intent, but also inform and push people through all parts of the funnel. YouTube can be prospecting. YouTube is already doing retargeting, and YouTube can absolutely be retention. The point of all of this is that when you are trying to pair multiple channels together, we really need to understand what is the unfair advantage that this channel is bringing to my overall marketing funnel. If I'm trying to get something done, what channel is providing what service? And really what this looks like is you can think of email and search as basically your bottom funnel. That is somebody already knows about me, they already have intent, or I already have their billing information or email address or phone number or something like that, and throw SMS into there. And so I'm able to monetize that intent and attention at a very high profit margin with very low cost. But it's going to be extremely difficult and dangerous and probably not very profitable for me to try to go acquire new people with those channels. That's not what those channels should do. That's not what they're designed to do. And that's not what they do best. Now, that being said, there are people that do that very well, but that is an edge use case. That is not a mass market solution. TikTok is amazing at intent creation, amazing at awareness. Honestly, TikTok's unfair advantage, it is the world's most aggressive algorithm for content delivery and discovery. So use it as such. Don't rely on TikTok to replace your Facebook ads. If your Facebook ads weren't working, odds are the problem in your business and your standards of practice are going to be carried over to any other platform. And yeah, I remember Q1 of 2022 where everybody was abandoning Facebook to go to TikTok because the CPMs were so cheap. And I called it out then that, like, yeah, CPMs are cheap because it's Q1 and this is not going to last. And it is an aberration of a couple of weeks. And it was. Now, there are people that made it work and they're very successful with it. But most people are seeing the same CPMs on TikTok as they are on Facebook. And if you talk to Facebook reps, they may or may not know exactly what they're doing. A lot of the salespeople are not that good, but the TikTok folks know exactly where they are. Because to be fair, they don't have 15 years of business to back up. They know we have maybe a couple of years of data, if not a couple of weeks of data on our users. Our product for the self-serving ads has only been around for a few months, relatively speaking, right? A year or two, maybe, for the average person. And based on that, they have a very specific way that they prioritize themselves to be effective. Because ultimately, TikTok functions as one feature inside of the Facebook universe with one very specific goal. But the downside to it is their data is not nearly as robust. Their user base will never compete with Facebook. And their opportunity to curate customer journeys on multiple platforms and multiple devices with multiple types of content will never exist. So you can be a one-trick pony and crush on TikTok if you can crush with that one trick. But understand where it fits in the mix. And ultimately, YouTube. I want to come back to this one more time. YouTube, if you are video first, has the best opportunity for you to replace what Facebook does. But I would never look at any of these as being what replaces Facebook. Because ultimately, Facebook is the hands down world's best way of breaking even on your investment. And why that is massively powerful is if you can break even on your investment, but grow your investment by 2% a week, you're going to triple your business every year. If you're spending $50 a day right now, you're going to be spending $1,500 in a couple of years, if not faster, because 2% a week isn't that aggressive. If you do 5% a week, you can get there in less than a year. The point is, no platform outside of Facebook offers that growth and stability. But you have to use Facebook properly. And ultimately, what Facebook's job is, it's an intent creation device. It's the volume up knob on everything else. So my recommendation, if you can handle it, get search live, get email live. Don't be shy with trying to play in the world of TikTok and devoting some effort there if you have the bandwidth. Having YouTube as a part of your mix is absolutely a good thing. But ultimately, Facebook is going to be what takes your business to the next level. In the most stable, projectable, and easily managed way, because it's only a couple hours a week. Can you devote 3 or 4 hours a week max to tripling your business every year? If that's too much of an investment, that's a conversation you have to have with yourself. Anyway, I hope that was really helpful. YouTube thinks you might like these videos, and don't be shy. Go ahead and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you on the internet.